Hey everybody, this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our main sponsors, Rise and Sons, the award-winning brewery in Cork. Be sure to call in if you're around. I'm delighted to welcome Conor and Ronan of the Enigma Division to the show, lads.
Hello, great to be here. Thanks, Richie. Thanks for having us.
Jesus, thanks for taking the time to come on. You won't believe this, but I don't know if you noticed it or not, but I was officially number 500 subscriber today.
No way. Do you know what? I did notice it go up actually once. So thanks.
Yeah, it was $4.99. I was there going, for fuck's sake, do I get a prize? But isn't that great? Like
at one of the shows, absolutely.
Cool. But isn't that great? Like that you have 500 already subscribing to the project.
It's unbelievable. I mean, honestly, it was one of these projects that we kind of just started. It was kind of a selfish endeavor. I mean, we just wanted to make music that we wanted to listen to ourselves, really,
Yeah.
So, and, you always hope that some people will enjoy it, of course. I mean, but at the end of the day, if they didn't, it didn't really bother us because we wanted to do exactly kind of what we wanted to do. So it's amazing that people are responding so positively to it. It's great.
That's like, I just read maybe 2 quotes already. The Enigma Division have produced one of the most captivating debut albums you're likely to hear in 2023. And then this is from Pat. The Enigma Division have certainly pulled out all the stops and allowed the inspiration for this space odyssey come to fruition without sacrificing on any of the drama and the pageantry. Failure to execute this properly would have been a crying shame. Thankfully, the lads have done everything in their power to allow this album reach those stratospheric heights and maintain them right through to the very last note. One of many that I've seen. And people are fucking losing their mind over this, lads. Seriously, like you're getting a fantastic reaction, and rightly so too. I mean, I don't know anything I don't know anything that came out in the Irish scene to rival it or come close to it, and I can go back years on that. So incredible stuff.
Well, look, there's plenty that can rival it, Richie, but it's I suppose it's different. I mean, it's
no, I'm on about as a debut, like.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. But I mean,
unbelievable.
Jesus, it's we've all, between the three of us, we've been playing a very long time. I mean, myself and Ronan, actually, we've been playing together since we were like 10. So in different bands growing up, and
whereabouts are you from, lads?
Dublin.
Okay, what part?
Yeah. I'm from Templeoe.
Third year.
So
Jesus, neighbours.
Yeah.
I lived in Rathfarnham myself, so I know the place well.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, only down the road. Yeah, absolutely.
Is the tuning fork gone? Has to be.
Is it?
Do you know the Yellow House?
I do. Yeah.
So the Yellow House, and then beyond that, as if you're heading from Marley Park, there was a pub right in the middle of the road called the Tuning Fork.
I don't know if it's open anymore.
I don't. You know, it's the shell of it is still there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I never see it open anymore. That's the thing.
If it's open, it's the best kept secret. We should probably check out the Guinness.
It's class, man. All that area, Cascarino's, Chipper.
Yeah, they're still there. They're still there. Absolutely.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is Larry Mullen around? Not Larry Mullen, but the bass player. What's his name? Adam Clayton. Is he somewhere around there as well?
He's up in Taylor's Lane, so actually not too far.
Yeah, not too far away. Yeah.
Surrounded by musical legacy and good food and good pubs, lads. You were bound to fucking have a good fucking show at being musicians, surely. So you started off anyway together playing in bands. Yeah, go on.
We did, and then we kind of, when we were kind of roughly around, funny enough, actually, there was an Irish promoter, Smiley Bulger, you probably know him.
Yeah, of course I do.
He used to give us gigs when we were kids in Slattery's, and we kind of just would put bands together, and used to play at this annual event called the Vibe for Philo every year, and so started all kind of Tin Lizzy, hard rock, all that kind of stuff.
I was at it many a time, lads, would you believe?
There you go, yeah, Jesus, you probably saw us then, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then from that, I mean, we kind of just got more into it. And like every guitar player or bass player, you get more obsessed with it. And, we got more into, I suppose, the more, expansive kind of stuff. We got more into progressive music, and bands like King Crimson and Rush and,
Okay.
Well, we still also listen to, lots of metal. I mean, we were still big into Carcass and Pantera. And, so it was a big mix that we liked. And then kind of fun from that, we kind of just went and we did like session work, really.
Okay, and was Zerat, is it?
Yeah, that was a band I joined. They were UK based, kind of an extreme metal kind of thing, and I was with them for about 4 years, and so definitely got a lot of experience from that as well. So I mean, that's kind of why I suppose as a debut album, it kind of sounds somewhat together, because I mean, I think the three of us have played for a long time, kind of collectively, you know. So
yeah. And did you move over, Conor, to England to join Zerat?
I would go over for sort of long, extended periods. I mean, I suppose I was very lucky with them. They were a signed band. They were with Candlelight Records, so they had a budget, you know, so they could actually afford to fly me over. It was like getting a bus. I swear to God, Richie, was mad, you know. And the lads would pick me up in Heathrow, and we hit straight to the rehearsal room and get going, you know. But
brilliant, yeah,
great times, absolutely.
I think Abad and Incarnate were with Candlelight as well at some stage.
They were, that's right. Yeah, we did a couple of shows with them, actually. That's right, yeah.
Did you really, play with them as well?
And
class.
Ultra Plagues and stuff. We did a few shows with them in the Underworld back when I joined them, like 2013. And amazing band, actually, them. And so, no, it's great to see a lot of Irish bands doing well abroad. I mean,
yeah, geez, you've a great history there with kind of Irish bands and getting over to the UK to kind of. I was just wondering there, and maybe you could answer this too, Ronan. At the time, we'll say when you were in Zerat, which was probably 2014 to 2017, what was the Irish vibe back at the time? Like the likes of Primordial were coming good at that stage, and what other bands maybe that we should shout out to Abaddon, obviously.
Absolutely.
Any other bands, Ronan, that you admired back that time? Can you even think back that length of time?
Jesus, when was that? Yeah, there was the likes of Gamma Bomb and
of course, yeah,
great call out. Yeah, of course, yeah, Joe, yeah. And
what else? I'm trying to think. I'm probably being too specific about the time period here now.
I suppose like you'd Morning Beloved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, a good friend of mine, Barry White, plays guitar for them. Superb band, absolutely fantastic. So. I think he's back playing with them as well, which is great to see, because I think he wasn't playing for a while. So it's such an incredible player. It's actually great to see him out doing what he should be doing. So it's great.
And Ronan, I was watching a clip there today. I was doing nothing at work, and of a Zerat. There's a load of Zerat clips up with you, Conor, playing some sections of the songs. But is it Steve Woodcock was playing this weird instrument, right? I said, what the fuck is that? I've never seen
the Chapman stick.
The Chapman stick. I had to Google it.
Yeah, but he's a wizard of the thing. Yeah.
Try and explain that to me.
Great player. It's it's a touch. It's like a touch guitar, right? So it's a bit like you can imagine the way like piano strings are on the back of a piano, you know,
right?
Strung across a board.
Yeah.
So the way it's organized, actually, it's not tuned like a guitar. It's you got the kind of middle strings are kind of doubled up, and they're the lower strings, and then it kind of moves out. So it's designed so you can kind of chord and play more piano style, but you can play more rhythmically. I suppose different kind of things. It's something I'd love to get into myself at some point, but it's a difficult instrument to master.
Oh my God. I couldn't imagine it out on stage, like sitting down with a stool.
I love the sound of it, though. It sounds amazing.
It does. It
sounds so mechanical, and there's a certain. I mean, King Crimson wouldn't be the same without it, like, you know.
Oh, they play it, do they?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that in King Crimson, and.
Okay, I didn't know that. No.
That's such a cool percussive kind of element to it. No, absolutely.
Yeah. So. I don't have one yet now, but it's probably going to be on the list at some point. But
I'd say they're not cheap, man.
They're not. But I think as well, it's more the learning curve, right?
Of course.
Need a few hundred hours there to start, you know, being useful on the thing. You know what I mean? So
he's been modest, Richie. This guy would figure it out in about.
Jesus, I'd say both of you are very modest. So we'll say when Zerat, I'm trying to kind of get a kind of time lapse in relation to the Enigma Division. So when Zerat finished, I think Ben was with you for a year or two as well, was he?
He was, yeah. So I mean, I joined them in April 2013. Then we kind of finished at the beginning of 2017, and Ben would have joined kind of for 2016, that kind of period. And Ben actually came in at a really good time. Like, we were actually doing a lot of really cool tours, and, you know, we did a few with who were out with like Tesseract and Flesh God Apocalypse and a few bands with that. So I'm really glad Ben got to experience like some of that, you know, which was great. And we even kind of started working on a new album, and that was and the reason kind of the band disbanded really was down to kind of the two main guys, Rich and Mike, had started working for Riot Games with a band called Pentakill, and it was just such a great opportunity for them. I mean, we kind of completely understood. I mean, it was completely amicable, and it was a great look. You know, it's obviously we were disappointed when it ended, but we were very happy for them. You know, it's like, you know, it was, if I was in their position, I would have done the exact same thing. So
fair enough.
So no, it was absolutely, it was.
So what was? Were you allowed to contribute to that band, Conor?
I was, you know, in fairness, I mean, I only got to do one full studio album with them, which was their final one.
Okay, number 3 was it? I think
that was it. Very imaginative album titles like that, of course. But I think there was the Van Halen in us there. But
that's what I'm saying. Work for Van Halen. So.
But no, I did. I mean, they were very. I mean, when I joined the band, like 70% of it had been written already. So my addition would have been just like riffs and solos. Really, that was it. They were very open to my ideas and musical suggestions. They weren't. I wasn't just merely a facilitator for them, which was great. So no, it was a really good relationship, absolutely. And I learned so much from them. Even just the production side of things, it was amazing to observe. You know, really talented guys, I have to say.
I remember the first time seeing Ben playing drums, actually, because I was kind of aware that you know, that they needed to get in somebody to replace Mike at the time.
Yeah.
And they did a show here, and I was kind of aware that Ben didn't have very long to learn the songs at all.
Like a week or something,
Yeah, and I was like, man, I feel sorry for this guy, you know. I mean, how the fuck is he going to play those parts? And then I saw him at the gig, and I was just like, holy fuck, you know.
Yeah, he's a machine, like.
But he nailed it.
Yeah,
you know, that's hence why we're still working together. You know, that was.
So the band split up. You moved back, Conor, and then I presume you probably had a good few songs for yourself. Really, had you at that stage?
We did. Like, funny enough, actually, a lot of the songs that ended up in some form on the Enigma Division kind of would have been from that period. Now, I'd written a couple with the guys. I think we released a couple of them just as a sort of a farewell gift to everyone that supported us. And we were kind of naturally, we were going down that sort of synth route.
Yes.
Anyway, it was sort of, Zerat would have been more inspired by the orchestral kind of Dimmu Borgir kind of sound. And while I was trying to push, you know, just being, you know, I suppose into very cheesy music, I wanted to push the synthesizer elements.
You have always been a little bit cheesy in the musical taste. You know?
Well, sure, look, you know,
not to everyone's,
not to everyone's thing, but
and it kind of was always really out of fashion, you know, and then it kind of became a little bit more acceptable again. So,
you're right there with kind of it being out of fashion, and it's coming in with the emergence of the post metal and post rock scene as well.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think the internet has a huge role to play with that. I think people are hearing more music, and I think they're a lot more open-minded to different elements being put into music. And like, even when you look at new bands now, like, you know, Sleep Token or Spirit Box, I mean, they're bringing in. Oh
yeah, Jesus,
pop,
there you go.
You know, and they're bringing in, and they're, it's like a seamless combination. You know, it's amazing. You know,
it's kind of very much okay to do. You know, to bring anything into anything, and I think.
And I hate mentioning them on this show, but Ghost as well.
Yeah, sure, look, you know, but I mean, in credit to them, they know how to write a song. I mean, they know how to structure a song. They know, you know, they know what they're doing. But you know, but they're like they're Marmite, I guess, for a lot of people. You know?
So let's talk about it then. The band itself, then maybe just start with the name. First of all, the Enigma Division. Who am I going to give credit to for that?
I think it was me, was it?
I think it was. Yeah. We were playing around with something around Enigma.
Yeah, we always liked the word.
Something cool about it or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was just one of those, because we didn't know, it was just me and Ronan initially. Right. So we thought, okay, if we just keep this going, we could have any band members, you know, and it could be the Enigma, whatever, you know. So
yeah, makes sense.
It made sense. Division, I suppose, like something like out of World War II, like the Panzer Division or something, you know, kind of. But yeah, the Enigma Division just made sense. It was kind
of came to the consensus that most band names are kind of stupid anyway, and that, you know, you kind of they become acceptable. And, you know, when you put them on something on an album or a you know a flag at the back of the stage or something like that, you know, it kind of. There's some really cool ones, like Depeche Mode, I think is a cool name.
That sounds good off the bat, yeah.
There's very few that are just cool the first time you see them, so I think we just needed a brand, I suppose.
Or a sound, or so, yeah, exactly. You know,
so that went with the sound, or...
And I mean, like, I'd always be paranoid with a name like that. Did you type it into the internet just to make sure there was no fucking...
100%. We were very lucky. There were combinations of, and obviously, everyone knew the German sort of new age band Enigma, they existed, and there was, and then actually it didn't even dawn on me. It was only after we actually started releasing songs, like, oh yeah, Joy Division, of course. But it's like, so,
perfect.
These things happen. But thankfully, I mean, just as the two kind of combined, we were amazingly enough the first actually to use that combination of words. So we looked out there, absolutely.
So I hate dragging this up because it's a thing that happened and we can't deny it happened. COVID, right? So COVID hit. Was that roughly around the time the two of you were working on the songs?
Yeah, that was a bit of a disaster.
It was right in the middle.
Yeah, it was. The plan was actually to release the album in 2020. And
what? Yeah. Really?
We had actually written most of it by sort of 2018. A lot of it was in its sort of completed state. But actually having COVID in a weird way was a blessing. We got to rework a lot of the stuff actually for the better. And,
yes, fair enough.
Was
Ben involved at that stage?
He was, yeah, absolutely. But Ben joined actually as a proper member in 2019, so that's when we became, properly a band.
Right.
And he helped tremendously again with myself and Ronan kind of wrote most of the music, but Ben definitely helped lyrically and like top line and melody wise, and a huge contribution. It was so it definitely was an effort between all of us.
Yeah.
And we also actually, I just have to give a shout out to William Alex Young from a band called Defences. He actually worked with us at the very beginning when we were just the two of us, and he actually came up with a lot of the song titles, and he played a huge role. And
that's nice to hear as well, man. That like he can kind of maybe trust other people to come in and they can share their ideas with you as well.
Well, do you know what? It was just he totally got what we were trying to do. I mean, we were going for this sort of big, I mean, it's not a concept album, but it is, if you know what I mean.
I understand.
It's like bookmarked by two pieces called 1977, and which is pretty much like a love letter to Carl Sagan, the old astrophysicist who used to have the Cosmos show and all that. And so it's basically about the Voyager missions, but it also kind of ties into what the songs are about. So the songs kind of just deal with, I think that's why a lot of people are relating to it as opposed to a lot of prog rock, is that the songs are very personal. They're very kind of deal with, existential crisis, grief, self-forgiveness, and, things that we all experience.
I suppose as well, the temptation sometimes for bands like yourself is actually not to have a singer on it at all. Just leave the music do the talking. Like, as I said, post-metal and post-rock, a lot of these emotional albums sometimes don't require a vocalist.
Oh, absolutely,
and it's up to you to take what you want out of it. But thankfully, I'm glad you did put vocals in it, and it's probably me being old school about it, because I enjoy listening to someone singing and trying to figure out what the lyrics mean. I think you can kind of portray the emotion a bit more with a strong vocalist behind the music.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it depends. I mean, a lot of that post-metal stuff is fantastic as well, though, in terms of it's very atmospheric, and that can obviously work on an emotional level as well, of course. And but I suppose for what we do, I guess, because again, we love a lot of different types of stuff, and we also love pop music, and having hooks in songs is sort of something that we try to put in as well. I mean, we kind of have this idea, even when we were writing the stuff, of it's technical in parts, but I mean, doesn't mean it can't have a hook or a catchy chorus,
Of course not.
It shouldn't be just about that, like, it's great as a musician, you can appreciate that as well, like, but at the same time, you kind of want it to be that to be a tool for the song or something. I know it sounds very corny to say that, but
no, and I mean, you can certainly hear there's a lot of influences as well with music scores that probably both love right through the 90s and early 80s as well. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that was sort of, even though we kind of at the start said it was synthwave, but it's not really synthwave as such. It's sort of more I suppose authentic 80s horror sci-fi. I mean, that was even the choice of keyboards we used were like the Yamaha CS80, which was obviously featured heavily on this guy here, which was
unbelievable.
A huge influence on us.
Going for the kind of vintage sounds, but very 80s.
Any John Carpenter in there?
It's just about John Carpenter, huge influence. Obviously like Christine, and then obviously Brad Fiedel with the Terminator, and
Yeah.
So a lot of those elements, we use pretty much those sounds. I mean, we tried to replicate some of them, but sort of modernize them just a little bit, and I think that's what kind of keeps the songs, I suppose, connected, is the synths kind of, I think, weave us anyway, like musically, I think, anyway. Hopefully.
Okay, right. Do you know what? We'll make our way through the album, if you don't mind. And the first section is 1977. So I won't actually play that. It's just an intro, and it's kind of just kickstarts the album, really, and as it dovetails nicely with the last track as well, which is 1977 as well, isn't it? What's it called?
That's it.
Ad infinitum. Yes. What about, we'll say, composing songs? Say something like that now, the intro. Would you just compose that on synth? Would you kind of, say, Conor, have an acoustic guitar for some of those songs that you put into use, or are you plugging straight into electric?
Synth was actually the main writer for all the songs, would you believe, actually. The guitar was almost secondary.
Okay, that's interesting.
So all the kind of chord progressions and melodies were kind of built up on the synths. I guess because we were going for that kind of film score kind of feel, and wiring up the pads, and we sort of had an idea of bookmarking the album with sort of an overture, I suppose you could call it, which has themes that repeat again in the last song.
Yes.
It's a very kind of classical thing to do. But it's sort of stuff that we love, basically. It's just, we kind of wanted, we genuinely were, Richie. We were like, even if no one likes this, I mean, at least we like it.
We genuinely didn't care if people threw it back in their faces. That was kind of...
Okay, so I'm going to start with track number 2 called The Escapist. And we'll give it a listen, and maybe you can talk through it. It's personally my favorite track of the album, would you believe?
Fantastic.
So here we go.
Won't you let me go? Help me overcome. And this life is not my own. I need a way, get me away from here. My head's in the clouds, and thoughts are just rain on my skin. All day long I dream away. When the night comes and I escape.
I'm going to be raving about every track of this album. Excuse me, lads, but sorry. That track for me, just the emotion. And is it Ben singing that?
It is, yeah, it is indeed.
I never knew he could sing like that. My God, like
He's like a, do you know what, I call him our secret sauce. He really is. He's like the Swiss Army knife musician, that guy, So.
Like, were you aware that he had a voice like that?
I knew he could sing, but not like that. What actually happened was I was jamming in a studio with him, just guitar and drums, and he played me this thing he was working on, and he sang a Jeff Buckley song. But he sang it so incredibly well. I was just like, dude, I mean, like, but on top of that, he could also do that kind of visceral sort of Devin Townsend scream, and kind of going, like, you have it all, man. I mean, it's a. So I just said, Ben, do you want to sing? And he said, I'd love to, because he never actually, because everyone knows him as this great drummer.
Yeah.
He was never asked to sing on a project, so it was just, it was great.
Wow, man. And what about the composition of that song? Is that an early song again?
That was kind of a later one, that one, wasn't it, actually?
It was, yeah.
We felt we needed something a bit more chunky, especially to open the album.
Yes.
And something that kind of immediately would grab someone's attention, which, I hope it works anyway. And so I used actually an 8-string guitar. It was my first time kind of using 8-string guitars.
Oh, okay,
stupidly
cool.
wide necks. You can iron your shirt in it. It's silly, but it has that low open
It's a big
F sharp.
tree trunk of a neck on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's that's the 7 string there.
yeah.
But yeah,
I was only looking at you play that today on some Zerat.
oh, that would have been the
playthroughs.
one. Yeah, that was the Zerat
Yeah.
axe for sure. Absolutely. But it's so that was the first one on 8, and actually that was one that was written on guitar first.
Okay.
That was,
Couple of them were, couple of them were, but
that's supposed to. Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember now.
I think the first more of the songs earlier that were written earlier were written completely on synth or mostly on synth. They get to a certain point and then
the guitar
come out or whatever. Yeah. I mean,
And the message behind the lyrics then, lads, obviously escape, but escape from what? Escape from life, or?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, again, it's like, as you said earlier on, you kind of want people to interpret them the way they can. And, they're kind of purposely vague that you can do that. But they do have a meaning as well. I mean, it's sort of, I kind of would associate that it's more with like sort of existential crisis and trying to find a thread to get out of this. And
I guess you get to a certain age and you're working all the time, and you know what I mean. You're like,
Absolutely.
I want to be over there doing something different. You know what I mean? And
we can all sympathize with that, definitely. Okay, that's great. Let's go on to track 3, and this song is. Oh, you've no idea how hard it is to fucking try and pick 1 minute extract from the fucking song.
Sure, the way
I do my best.
It's so bloody long.
That's just outrageous, Conor. The fucking guitar work.
Oh, far too kind. My favorite bit is actually follows that is actually the more chilled out bit. That's the manic section, but it's
this is where I'm coming from. Now, also for those that are watching this and listening, Derek, is it Ronan? Is it?
Oh, close, Sharinian.
Sharinian does a sick keyboard guest solo on that, but you have to buy the fucking album, lads. So buy the album before I'm not going to ruin the surprise. So the video is absolutely brilliant. Big shout out to Andy Pilkington as well for his work right through all the videos that he's done for what a legend.
He's really, he's become almost like an extra member of the band. You'll always hear people, and it's so great to hear, like, oh, the music's great, but they'll always comment on the visuals,
Yes.
And it's just, Andy just got it from day one.
I was just going to say it.
Has been good, It's been like,
and there's a variety in it as well, which I like.
Absolutely, it's like we would pick kind of different themes in each video, where it's like sort of an 80s sort of synthwave thing to sort of a darker concept to a more space kind of orientated thing as well. So, but Andy's just amazing.
I mean, like, for someone as skilled as Andy, and he's like at the top of his game, he doesn't come cheap, I'd imagine, lads.
No, no.
Yeah.
Not at all, but-
That has to be acknowledged, because I presume you're funding this all by yourselves. Yeah.
We are. Yeah, no, we've done this completely DIY. You know, we don't have any PR company. We don't have any, we've had a lot of help. I mean, I have to give a shout out to Oren Byrne as well. I mean, has been incredible. Like, he's just championed us again from day one. Andy, I kind of just approached myself because I loved his work. I mean, and as you know yourself, Richie, I mean, he's done some of his clients are like Motorhead and Judas Priest, and some
and close to home, 10-ton slug, Flotsam and Jetsam,
absolutely.
Venom.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I genuinely thought he just would tell us to F off or whatever. But I sent him the song, and he was genuine. He was coming back with how much he liked it, and and it was really, really moving to hear that coming from a guy like that. And
yes,
and you could tell he put his heart into it. It's
definitely
really comes across. It's great.
So I mean, like, there you go again. It's another massive thumbs up from somebody in the profession that recognizes some great musicians that have composed this brilliant selection of music. So talk to me about Echoes in the Deep. It's Ben on vocals again, is it? Yeah,
it is indeed. Yeah, he sings most of them actually.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get Derek involved?
Derek again was another cheeky thing. I kind of just sent an email to his recording studio.
Obviously, you're a lifetime admirer of his work, yeah?
Oh, huge fan. Obviously, when we were teenagers, we loved Dream Theater. They were kind of the go-to band when you were kind of learning your chops, and
and also Planet X. Planet X. Yeah. Then after that, yeah.
Like more so, his band Planet X probably influenced us the most. And,
really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
that's interesting.
We shouldn't be giving away our secrets, but if you listen to Planet X, you'll hear some similarities for sure. But it was a no-brainer. I mean, the song was very synth heavy, and we just felt, man, if we could get him on this, it would just be, the icing on the cake,
and just incredible hearing the background. So, like, because we're such big fans of his, to hear his style is so unique.
Yeah, it is.
And to hear that on your own track is just
ridiculous.
And for those again that are listening or watching, the lads have posted a great clip of him playing that part in the song.
That's right. Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Like, did you see the emotion he was putting into it? Like,
oh, he was just giving it welly. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, but I knew he would. I mean, not that I've never met Derek, but I've chatted to him, online, and. He comes across just so passionate, still to this day about what he's doing, and it doesn't matter who he's working with. If he likes it, he'll give it 100%. Which, as you can hear, I mean, he just knocked it out of the park. It's unbelievable.
Okay, cool. Let's move on then. Another personal favorite is Afterglow. We'll give this a listen to. Brilliant. Richard Thompson does vocals on this.
He does indeed.
Now, tell us how he got involved.
Look, it was a no-brainer. Obviously, me and Rich had played together for 4 years in Zerat, and I loved his voice, and it was just a good opportunity to work together again. And I just gave him a shout, no hesitation. Again, I just love what he did with it. He just he kind of had a sort of a metal side, but he kind of gave it such a sort of a pop sensibility as well, which really worked.
Which is strange, isn't it? Considering,
absolutely.
And the video is just fantastic. I mean, it's like that arcade game Outrun, is it? Or
that's what we're going for. That's exactly exactly.
That'd be the most synthwave video going. Yeah.
And the colours again. That's Andy Pilkington at his best.
Absolutely.
I don't know, I just get emotional when I see that, because I mean, like at 52, you know, you just love a band that'll just do a throwback video like that and just catch you off guard, and you know, it just sucks you in the whole lot, and you're just thinking back of, you know, when you were a teenager playing all those games, you know.
Well, that's amazing. That's so cool to hear. That's
Oh, absolutely, lads. It was a really nice touch, and you know, I come from a seaside town in Youghal, so we'd perks. It was a fun fair, and man, all those games were there, and we'd be in there trying to fucking bum 10p to throw it into the game, you know, and play it, you know, and just stay on it, you know, the whole time, and just memories just kick in like that when you have a song like that. And I'm sure Andy had a good childhood as well, but by the looks of that video.
Absolutely, man. You know, it's yeah. I mean, Andy, he just knocked it out of the park. I mean, once he heard the synths, I mean, you know, I think the intro he even said to me, kind of, he said it stirred up sort of nostalgia instantly. You know, so he kind of knew which course to go, which was great.
He's an incredible artist. You know, he just connects. How
do you choose the singles, lads?
Do it.
How do you choose the singles?
Well, we kind of had a sort of a standalone track initially called the Neon Mirage, which Andy did the video for that. And that was our first one because we didn't have many songs. That was,
right, okay.
So we would have that. I think we kind of wrote that back in 2017. That's going back at the very beginning.
That was like first finish, nearly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the first finished, yeah.
And I guess we kind of picked that one because it was probably at the time a good representation of what we were about, you know. And then Afterglow was actually the second one, which, again, just gave people a different angle again, you know. So
okay, right. Another single coming up, The Age of Discovery.
The more that I see of our failures, the more that I see how lost we are. Why do we struggle to find release? I'm sick of these walls, sick of denial. I long for the light, long for desire. Too late to turn back now. I'll find the means to break them down. We'll carve our own destiny, away from the entropy. A future we all want to see. Restart the age of discovery.
Both of you were involved with the keyboards on that. How do you designate the duties?
we kind of did, yeah. It's I mean, you could talk about that. You did a lot of work.
Well, yeah, we kind of sit beside each other, and we'd go through and a lot of the time find sounds and stuff like that kind of, you know, evoke a certain feeling or something like that, you know. So look for a kind of a cool, you know, one month would be like, yeah, let's fucking do everything on the DX7 or something like that, you know. And so we'd be programming. I'd be sitting there programming the sound and getting the sound, and then kind of be playing something here next to me, and we just kind of swap and change and stuff like that. And we'd kind of build up a track that way, so you'd kind of get the guts of the track. And you know, probably be like a chord progression and an intro, or you know, something like that. And then bashing stuff out on the guitar, and
while both of you are in the same room, yeah,
exactly, and kind of mouthing riffs back and forward and saying, "Oh, that's shit," or "That's good," or whatever, and you know, that kind of thing.
It's good to be brutally honest.
Maybe leave out that second bit, or go, or you know, just as ridiculous as it sounds, it's kind of what it is, you know. And you just kind of keep banging your head against the wall until you get something that you sort of like, you know.
Yeah, because a lot of bands didn't have that when COVID hit. A lot of the lads were separated. So it was just a matter of fucking sending stuff through Zoom or playing it on Zoom and back and forth that way.
Yeah, that's actually what delayed the album as well, was because we couldn't go down. And as you know yourself, the restrictions were so tight. You know, in Ireland, I mean, like 5 kilometers. I remember at one stage. So
load of
forgetting to go
bullshit,
to Limerick and recording drums.
Yeah, those
that was
were kind of tough. Yeah.
So
I think the key, I think kind of the key to making it happen is to just designate a time to do it. Like we literally have a time every week we'd meet up.
Yeah.
You know, after work to just write, and no matter if we were wreck tired or whatever,
we just discipline ourselves.
You just do it. You know what I mean? And you make sure you kind of.
We didn't cancel once, which is great.
You give it the few hours that you have. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of over time it paid off because we
fucking big time. Yeah,
we kind of gave it enough time that that eventually you get it there or whatever, But
so, who wrote the lyrics for this? Was it?
That was William Alex Young. Yeah, right. I really liked the take he took on that. Now it's again, I gave the sort of the theme, the idea of kind of wanting a better future, something basic where we kind of, especially during COVID, because I mean, you were seeing on social media people getting divided over their beliefs, and it was sort of again like the age of discovery was actually back. It was perhaps back to the time of I suppose exploration of the oceans, and we're kind of talking about exploration of space, sort of looking at our feet, look up at the sky, and it's. But William just took that and brought in a fantastic human element to that as well, and he did a great job of that.
He did, yeah. And I like sometimes I can hear just I don't know, is it true you're playing Conor Joe Satriani Surfing with the Alien, that album?
Funny enough, that song
definitely a couple of copies of it later.
Yeah, for sure. Funny enough, the solo in that song. As a kid, I was obsessed with Joe Satriani. So I think it doesn't matter. I think whatever you grow up listening to, it's going to come out in your DNA somehow. And
there was a couple of times actually where I was like, just go Satriani on it, like kind of way.
Yeah.
I wonder was that one of them?
I think it was that song. I think there's a bit where the solo kind of quickens up. It goes.
It is. Yeah, because I mean, I'm a fan, and I just wow, lovely.
You definitely your ears served you well there, Richie. That was definitely. It's sort of a subconscious homage to the great Satriani, absolutely. Yes,
the great Satriani, indeed. Okay, next track is Kaleidoscope.
This won't last for long. Now fall asleep.
I'm just been deliberately picking out all these really heavy riffs.
Fantastic. I love
it. Sorry, but that's just me being selfish.
I'm great. It's great. That's what they're there for.
Ronan, who's your hero playing bass?
Oh, Jesus.
If you to name maybe 3 or 4. I'll leave you off with 3 or 4.
Yeah, probably Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
A load of them. Jacko, of course. Geddy Lee.
Yeah.
Geddy Lee very much for the rock.
Okay.
Jesus, who? Jonas Hellborg.
Oh, okay.
Good choice.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of them.
Yeah. And
various different types of stuff.
Yeah, and you take your influences from all of them, obviously, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much. I think the reason because originally I played guitar years ago, and I think there's 2 albums. There was Invitation by Jacko,
yeah,
which obviously is a jazz album, but it's a bit different. It's kind of a proggy jazz album. It's got all these steel drums and harmonicas and all sorts of weird instruments and stuff on that. And I kind of heard that it is quite rock and roll actually in a way. And then I heard Rush, Permanent Waves by Rush. And I was like, fuck, man, I never really heard someone playing bass like that before. That's kind of cool, you know? So I kind of, when I was about 16, I transitioned over to playing bass then full time.
Yeah. And at the moment, what instruments are you using, Ron?
I've kind of two basses I use at the moment. Like, so my main one is an F bass. So that's a builder over in Canada.
Okay, I haven't heard of them.
Furlanetto is the name of the guy, but he
is she 4-string or 5-string?
6-string.
Oh, 6-string. Okay.
Yeah, so I've had that. I've had that for years now. I've had that about 15 years, 20 years or something.
And that's on the album.
Giving away my age now.
That features heavily on the album, Ronan, yeah?
Yeah, most of the album was recorded with that.
Okay.
The other one was the fretless one I used on a couple of the tracks or one of the tracks actually.
That's the next one, funny enough, yeah.
Yeah, we took it off the other track, but that's actually a Yamaha. It's an old Yamaha that I took the frets out of basically, and it got the hand-me-down pickups off and other basses I had and stuff like that. So it's kind of heavily upgraded, but it's an old Yamaha, like a kind of a Nathan East knockoff.
I've a mate
cheaper
there.
version of that, like.
I've a mate there, Steve McGrath, is in Crow Black Chicken. He's a great man for I suppose taking apart basses and putting them back together. He did his own fretless bass as well. Shout out to Steve. So
Kaleidoscope as well. I've seen them live a few times.
There's some band, aren't they? They're fantastic. Yeah. So Kaleidoscope, Conor, how did you approach your guitar parts for that? Was it built again around the keyboards?
It was. Funny enough, Ronan gets the credit on the main groove in that song. Actually, Ronan came in with this great groove. It was kind of had this really bouncy kind of feel to it.
I think I sung it in the car or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of just came up with the kind of chord progressions around that. And again, I'd be more sort of, I suppose, the metalhead in the band. So I brought in that riff you like, I bring a few of the heavier riffs in, and and try kind of blend them, make it work.
Yes.
But that was kind of your baby. That one, that was that kind of groove. Yeah, that was And then Ben again, he wrote the words, and again did a great job.
I think what's evident as we're moving through all those songs to me is the remarkable balance you have for each song, insofar as the breathing room each instrument gets, each the vocals get as well, and the keys, the synths. That comes with playing for fucking years. I think myself, it's you can't get guys coming into the scene doing this stuff. It's just not possible.
I think so. I mean, it's sort of, I guess because we've always played for other people, and your job is sort of to make someone else sound better in that moment. It's not about you at all. And so if Ben is singing a vocal line, I want to complement that with sort of just a nice pad in the background and make sure that comes across. And we all kind of collectively have an understanding of that, and like that we're not going to step on each other's toes too much. And and I think it works better for the song, especially with this kind of stuff, because it can be, by its nature, it's quite intense. So it's nice to, as you said, have that breathing room in it. So
and the balance is key to that. Yeah. Okay, so the next song is, I think it's Clarity. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
The power ballad.
What section did I take?
Oh, there you go. There's the flatness. There you go.
the lighters come up into the air.
Yeah.
That's definitely a post-rock
Let's talk about.
New York, actually, at that point.
Did you like the way I had Ronan there talking about the bass next minute, the next song, the section I picked, that
you are-
I
fretless
see what you
bass?
did there.
Yeah, it was nice, wasn't
A
it?
master, my friends, absolutely.
I'm
The
doing this a
master of
while as
transition.
well. I'm doing this a while as well, lads. Let's talk about where you recorded it, especially for a song like that. I wonder, is that a difficult song to record?
That was all done in this very room that we're sitting in,
Okay.
actually. Yeah,
Cool, right.
Yeah, I think there was some drum overdubs.
there were.
So,
Yeah, that was
Those
actually
big clashes and
yeah. The sort of electronic drums and all we did here. There's actually behind the webcam. There's keyboards here,
Right.
and we kind of just did that. We built it up from piano first, and then that was a real layered song.
there was a lot of tracks on it. Yeah,
we
Yeah.
were very inspired by Depeche Mode, definitely. Tears for Fears, very non-metal stuff actually. In that
Nice.
one.
Yeah,
Gabriel
Tears for Fears,
a bit-
wow.
yeah, we love Tears for Fears, like a huge influence.
Yeah,
funny enough. When you take away the metal part of us, you break it down to its core, you'll kind of hear a lot of that influence in it.
There's a lot of like edited sort of tracks, like sort of kind of percussion tracks in it. Or I think it was one of Bjork's collaborators, his name escapes me for some reason, but was talking about this technique of where you record all this stuff, and you hack it up and you turn it backwards and you kind of,
William S. Burroughs on it.
yeah. You mess with it and you sort of turn it into whatever it wants to be. So it's kind of that's why it's kind of dense and grubby. But I think Ben did a great job kind of mixing it and cleaning it up. But
yeah.
Okay,
making it
yeah.
more coherent as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was quite,
And that's a huge plus to have someone like Ben
absolutely
in a song like that, where you sometimes you could probably lose perspective in the song if you're at it for so long. Would that happen to you much?
Sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
it did. I mean, funny enough, I suppose the one that was rewritten the most was like Afterglow. Funny enough, was pretty much in a completed state. I think off the get-go. A few of them were. Some songs just literally do come out naturally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Age of Discovery was the one we rewrote the
Yeah,
most.
I was thinking that when you were playing it actually, because that's was that like the second song or like that was really early.
I think that was the second song we wrote. Yeah,
The start of that was there, the kind of body of it, but it was like instrumental and we couldn't really figure out what it was. It was kind of this.
I think it was just that it was actually too technical, funny enough, originally. The riffs were kind of more like Meshuggah meets, like it was just bonkers, really. It was kind
of overwhelming, the song, is it?
Rock instrumental or something like that. So.
It was overwhelming, the song, you felt?
It was too much, yeah. And I think that was, COVID actually gave us, that was a blessing in a way. We kind of got to listen back to it and kind of go, well, we don't need, Yeah,
it kind of just, it kept sounding like demo-y, like the ingredients for a song or something like that,
Yeah.
So that kind of got finished late. It started really early and got finished late. But,
yeah.
And was that probably the hardest track on the album to record, or was the one I'm going to play in 1977? What was the most troublesome song?
Probably the one you're going to play.
Okay.
for one reason, right? We'd have to start up the DAW, because we end up with so many tracks on it. Because every time you add a part, you'd have to add new synths and stuff.
Yeah.
So there was 200 plus tracks on it.
Yeah.
And you'd start up the DAW, and we'd be at 15.5 megabytes on the laptop, and you'd have to disappear for 5 minutes, and you come back in, and the thing would be the thing would be loaded up, So every time you had to do that, you'd have to,
Wow. Okay, we'll give this a listen to then the very last track, and it's a fitting ending to a brilliant album, lads. Yeah, I know why I picked this section because there's somehow a vibe of Gary Moore just flickering in the background
Oh,
there.
yeah. It's funny enough that part is sort of that was designed to collaborate with two of my favorite Irish guitar players growing up. Funny enough, and it was great to get them to guest on the album as well. The first guy you heard was a guy called Sam Bell,
Right.
an amazing British guitar player, and I mean he's played with guys like Paul Gilbert, and he's played with
Okay,
man
cool.
called Mask of Judas, and then the guy who just faded out there is a guy called Mal O'Brien. He's like sort of the local guitar god from Clondalkin who we used to go and see play. So
That's
it was kind of
brilliant.
great to go full circle and get him on the album, and just fantastic to have him. And then Dave White is another guy. He played kind of the jazz thing and that. But that sort of is the sort of breather part of the song. I think the rest of it, the one we were talking about, was sort of earlier on, where there's a lot of symphonic and it's that's a bit of a long song, a tough one to digest on first listen, probably. But
it's what would you call it? An epic song, really. And now Stephen Taranto, what part did he play in the album?
no, with Stephen, he was meant to play it originally. This is back in, and there was a press release when he even agreed to do it himself, but he had to pull out of it for another commitment, unfortunately. So he's not on the album, but it's Sam Bell actually. But
it's Sam Bell got his part then.
Got his part, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So that I was just wondering about that, and let's talk about who he sent to mix it. Jacob Hansen, Volbeat, Epica, Arch Enemy.
Absolutely, he's a good man.
You could just keep going.
our Danish buddy, absolutely. He again, amazing job. Now Ben mixed it actually, and all credit to Ben.
Okay,
he was the mixer, and then Jacob mastered it.
Okay.
But it was kind of a no-brainer because I'd worked with Jacob before in Zerat, and I loved his work ethic and his approach, and just an absolute gentleman to work with, and just. His results are stunning. He just knows how to make everything sound colossal, and it's blessed to get him.
Yeah, Jesus, definitely. And now, after hearing the whole album, how difficult is this going to be to play live?
Very,
not at all.
Not at all. Well, that's actually the interesting thing because we had no real ambition to play it live. It was like a project. We'll just keep bringing out albums. And
to be fair, bands do that, and I don't think they think much about the fans that want to see this as a live entity, and the fact that ye have suddenly now got a billing on Bloodstock on Friday night on the Sophie stage. Jesus,
what's that about?
Well, we couldn't really turn that down. It was like it was a momentary kind of because we're well aware about how much work it's going to be and all that. But we were just kind of like, if you can't turn that down.
No.
You know what I mean? It's kind of an honor.
It is an honor, yeah.
No, it is. I mean, it would just be such an insult to even all the bands that try and metal to the masses, and it's like we were like, look, we got to do this. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, and it's
and fly the flag for us over there, lads.
But try our best, and it's just that's it. I mean, and we're I can't wait. We have a good tough few months ahead of getting because Ben is actually going to be the front man at the show. He's not going to be playing drums.
Oh, but, okay, sure.
Yeah, so we'll reveal the drummer in due course. Don't worry about that, but we're definitely just at the moment sorting out all the logistics of getting that sorted, and hopefully we'll do a couple of shows in Ireland as well, just as a warm up beforehand as well. So
that'd be terrific because I mean you've got so many fans that want to hear this live, including myself, and the more people listen to this album and listen to the podcast as well, you will definitely have serious interest in people coming to see whether you do a launch show or anything like that. I mean, that's entirely up to you how you're going to plan that. But yeah, there's a serious amount of work in every one of those songs, lads.
Oh, for sure. No, it's well, yeah. God, I'm getting nervous. Well, definitely. No, we thankfully we have high standards, Richie. So hopefully we'll get there. It'll be a few sleepless nights.
We'll have a few cuts and bruises, but I'm sure we'll be fine.
What do your friends, we'll say partners, relations, all think of this album? Like, are they they're obviously aware that you've obviously put so much time into it. For example, what's the kind of general vibe with it now that it's released?
He's a good man. He actually just got married, this man. Congratulations to
fantastic.
Ronan. So it's just back from his honeymoon. So it's
I love the tan, Ronan.
They're incredibly supportive, you know, and just I think they're just thrilled for us to have something, you know, out there, and you know, I suppose like it is, yeah. They see the kind of the time we put into it. So, like I suppose we didn't really do it necessarily because we thought loads of people were going to listen to it or anything like that. We just thought we'll just do what we'd want to listen to, and see where it goes. So we're thrilled with the support we're getting now for families and friends, and
it's overwhelming, really. It's
everyone's been really cool, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, you put so much of your own time and money into it, like you know, and it's always nice to have people that have your back, you know, your friends and family, you know, because obviously there will be times where you're kind of going, Jesus Christ, will anybody appreciate it? Or, you know, you know, what if it falls flat and it's ours? Like, you know, and it's just, there's so many things that could be going on in your head, and it's so nice to be able to offload it to some friend or a family member to say, listen, we're behind you. We know we know you're going to fucking do it right, man. You know.
Yeah, and they're there when you don't, you know, when you don't sort of believe in yourself as much as or whatever, you know. Yeah. Because I think especially when you listen back to stuff, you still hear all the flaws and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, that bit, you know. And I think everyone who puts together music, it's actually like that. If they're honest, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you kind of need people to push you and go, yeah, man, I like that, you know. And, kind of it gives you the energy to keep going and do the next thing. And
100%.
Oh, definitely. They're not acknowledged enough, if you ask me, those people.
I agree.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the lifeblood of everything, you know, of all the music, everything. That's
the invisible people in the background.
It, you know? Really, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's a cliche, but it's true cliche, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So look, I'm going to leave you go, lads. Absolutely, congratulations again on just releasing one of the best debut albums for a long time in the Irish metal scene. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much, Richie, for having us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Very kind, man.
Yeah, and please keep in contact with me and let me know if there's Irish shows. I'll promote it on my side and do as much as I can for you, lads. Okay.
That's amazing, Richie. Thank you so much for the support.
Thanks
I really
so much,
appreciate it. So thank you.
So you've been listening. And there's no sign of Ben tonight, but a big shout out to Ben as well. He's missed.
Absolutely. Hey, Ben.
So thanks to Conor and Ronan coming on the show. And crucially, everybody, support your local metal scene. Thank you.